Welcome to the Time Brigade, and I'm Brigadier Sushil Bhasin, talking on a subject which is going to be very important in the coming few months, and that is about time management for students with particular reference to their exams coming up soon.
It's time brigade. Time brigade. It's time brigade. Join the time brigade.
I have focused my presentation today on the subject of higher secondary and secondary board exams for various boards. So I'm going to be making it very generic. It won't be for a particular board, and I will also be making it a little generic to you and use it for any examination on the earth, right? So here I want, before I go, let me tell you that this will be done in a few videos, and I will release them one by one. The second thing I want to talk about is that I have been into this world of examinations for a very long time. So when I was in the army, I was involved in setting papers and evaluating papers for Part D promotion exams and staff college entrance exams. And I've been um, setting and evaluating papers for quite a number of years. I've also been coaching student officers for the entrance of staff college exam. And I used to be very fond of this subject of examination technique. And thereafter, when I was a chairman of Army School, I used this platform, or I used my knowledge a couple of times to coach students and even teachers for examinations. And therefore, my presentation is based on my experience of examinations as well as my experience in the subject of time management. So, while I go along, I'll strongly recommend that you have a piece of paper and pen or your notebook and do make notes as we go along, because they will come very, very handy. When you make notes, make sure that you don't write what I say, you write your actions that you perceive when you hear me, which means that what applies to you, please only write that. That is going to be handy to you. Now, when you use it in a customized way and take what you think is applicable to you, ignore what is not applicable to you. So I'm going to cover this in two parts. The first part will be the preparation for the exam, and that means studying for the exam right from the beginning of the academic year. But if you're going to talk about this academic year, it's going to be quite fluid, because many of the students have not been able to do their studies well this year because of COVID. And there could be some who did their online classes well, some missed them out because of various constraints of Wi Fi connections, of devices that you didn't have, or your school didn't cater for online education. And when COVID came, the teachers themselves were then getting used to a new format of teaching. And therefore, there was a lot of period of fluctuation and adjustments. The second thing I'm going to be talking about, and that will be in the end in the last video, is about the examination day. That means those 3 hours, and I'm assuming certain things, so your exam could be 4 hours or 2 hours or whatever, but I'm going to assume certain things and then you can extrapolate them accordingly. So it'll be the exam time that, from the time you get the question paper to the time you submit it. How do you manage that time? Okay, so here's listening on. But if you go to last video, and haven't heard the previous videos, there'll be a solid disconnect. So I strongly recommend that you watch the videos in their chronological order for them to make any sense to you. If you have any questions, you can write in the chat box, and I will be doing a question and answer session on Zoom on a day which I will declare. So please be in touch with me. I'm going to give you my contact details. And as and when we decide to do a Q&A session for all those who have watched these videos, you can come back to me on questions. But at the moment, on the YouTube video, please write your comments, write your questions, and we'll get back to you for sure. I am interested in making sure that these videos are of immense value to you and you can finally score much higher marks in your exams than you would have done otherwise. I hope that makes sense. So now let's start with the module 1. And in this module, I will talk about the preparation, not for the exam, but your own preparation to make yourself fit for achieving the marks that you want to. So the first thing when you set on this action is to set your goal. To set your goal. And that is you decide what results you want. What is the ultimate goal of your life? What is the purpose of your life? And to know the purpose of your life, I have another video. I will give you the link in the description below. Go and watch that video before you come to this so that you get to know the purpose of your life. And from that purpose of your life, let's come down to basically how will this examination contribute to the achievement of that purpose, of that goal, of the dream that you have. Okay, so this is very, very important that you must decide where you want to reach. I must have my destination clear. You all are used to a GPS, and a GPS wants to know where are you right now and where do you want to go. So you must know your threshold point or your start point, and you must know your destination. So this is something that you must start with. Be very clear. Ask yourself, why do I want this goal? Why do I want these marks? Or what am I appearing in this exam for? What am I going to achieve? Before I say that, I always say as an educationist that throughout the year, I strongly recommend that you don't study for the exams. You study for life and see that what you study, you will remember it for years and it should have a recall value. Don't do a short-term stuff so that you vomit it out in the exam and after a month you don't even remember what it was. That education is an utter waste of effort and your parents' money. I hope that is clear. Now, I want to also say that there's a pattern that right in the beginning of the academic year, you work out your complete plan according to your 40 odd weeks that you may have when you start for the exam. But as of now, let's be practical. We are talking somewhere where you have about 8 to 10 to maximum 12 weeks for your exams. So we are going to talk of this truncated period, and let's for very, very simplicity's sake, say you got 10 weeks left for your exams. So we'll see how do you prepare in those 10 weeks for an exam that is going to make a difference in your life. It's a milestone exam. Whether it's a 10th class or a 12th class board exam, it's going to make a difference in your life. And therefore, take it seriously. Right. Now let's start with you decided your goal, you know what to do. The first thing is, are you clear about your niche? Are you prepared? Are you clear about your ikigai? Okay. And here, as I mentioned these things, I will be giving you some references in the description, which will be side study. Do that to understand, because in this video, I'm not going to be able to cover what is ikigai. I'm not going to be able to cover many things, but all of you who are interested, I have covered some of these things in my podcast called Zindagi Unplugged, which is available on Spotify for free. So that is another thing you can see. I will probably give you some references, but even if I don't, go to Spotify, you'll see about 40 odd episodes that are already live. And in that, you can select the ones that you are looking for. Okay, so your niche. What do you want to become in your life? And that will be very strongly and beautifully explained in Ikigai, which is what are you living this life for? What is your purpose? And how do you find that? How do you find your niche? That means what are you inclined to do? What is it of interest to you? So I normally say that there are three things, and I've covered them beautifully in my podcast on Spotify. I've even given to students who wanted a matrix. So there's an Excel sheet and a matrix, very simple formula, which I say that first answer a question, what am I good at? Give points out of 10. And there are some details I can't cover here. Then you say, what do you love doing? Again, give points out of 10. And then say, will it pay me? How much will it pay you according to your aspirations? Give points out of 20. So now you have a total of 40. Add them up. And if you got 5 options or 5 goals or 5 options, you will find that the one that scores maximum out of 40 is something that you should go for. That may not be the real answer. So you take the top 3 and then again go through a filter, discuss with your parents, and more importantly, with a counselor, a coach, because your parents may not be the right authority, or they may not have experience to give you an answer. They'll give you an answer out of love, but they will not give you an answer out of the wisdom that is required technically. Emotionally, yes, they will do their best. So, one is you should know your niche. The other is you should know about your passion. Another video on passion, which was done on Yellow Talks about 5 years back, will also give you an idea of how do your passion play a role. Then know your capabilities. And when I say know your capabilities, I'm not talking about your perceived capabilities. I'm talking about your real capabilities. And let me tell you that what you perceive to be your capabilities are always lower than your actual capabilities, because we all have a tendency of underestimating ourselves. Don't underestimate yourself. You are certainly better than what you think you are. And that's proven in all my outdoor camps. All students who have done my camps would vouch for that, because I proved it to them in all activities over and over and over again, that every time they said they can do something in X amount of time, or they could cover X amount of distance, and they always did better than what they thought they would do. Now, after having done that, you have to get into that passion, out of your comfort zone, understand that I want to achieve it. Why do I want to achieve it? And now I'm talking about an inner transformation. An inner transformation to say, how will I become that person who wants to achieve my goals? What am I to do to build my inner desire, my determination, my willpower to be able to reach where I want to reach? So I would talk a lot about first preparing yourself emotionally and mentally to be able to achieve the results that you are set out for. And just remember one thing, today's world is very competitive and there is no place for mediocrity. If you think you'll just carry on as you are, then please be prepared with the consequences of a mediocre life. Don't be mediocre in your capabilities and expect a 5-star aspiration in your results, that you want to be roaming around in a Mercedes, you want to travel business class, but you don't know study. And I'm not saying studies is equal to good life, certainly not. But at the moment, you're talking of one proper milestone, that's your exam. How good are the exams? Whether exams should not be there or not be there is a separate debate. And we can't wish those exams. They are in front of you. Take them as an obstacle or take them as an enabler. I take them as an enabler. You think of an obstacle, you'll treat it badly. You will treat it with negativity. Treat it as an enabler. You're going to treat it. You're going to be positive about it. Take it as a challenge. Don't take it as a problem, and see the fun. You will enjoy your exams. And today I'm going to tell you how to enjoy your exams, enjoy your preparation. Have fun in it, right? Now, ask yourself this very important question, very, very important question. Why do I want this goal? Why do I want this goal? Your why has to be clear. So let's say that you answer your question. For example, I'm deviating from the exams for a minute and say, I want to write a book by the end of this year, my goal. And then you ask yourself, but why do I want to write a book? And then you say, because I want to be famous. I say, why do you want to become famous? He said, because I love to see that people take my name. He said, but why should you be keen on knowing why people take your name? And keep going further, deep down, at least 7 levels down, till some answer comes like, I can't live without it. There's no compromise. There's no second option. I have to do it. And then ask an acid question. Would you do it for free? And the answer is yes, I'll even do it for free if I don't get money, but I want to do it. Like I want to do training, I do it even for free. That is what I'm talking about, right? Now, once you have understood that, then the second thing I want you to consider is what is the cost you will have to pay? Maybe sacrifice some sleep, maybe sacrifice some outings, maybe some chilling and hanging around with friends. You'll have to compromise a little bit. I'm not the one who's going to say stop it. I'm not going to say that you're going to not be on social media. I'm not going to say it. But I'm going to say balance it out. I'm going to say do it under control. You are not going to become a slave of technology. You're going to keep technology under your control. That is what I'm talking about. If you say that I'm going to take 1 hour on Facebook, Instagram, do it. Go ahead. No problem. But you're not going to get driven by it that you sat down on Instagram for half an hour and got out after 3 hours. Not going to do that. Okay, so promise me right now and write in the comments, I will not do it. I'll not do it. Right? So you have to do some cost benefit analysis. What will I sacrifice and what will I get out of it? Imagine that if you get these marks, you'll get this college, you can get this job. Start visualizing. And you know that if I don't get these marks, I will not get this job. You may do very well in life. My own son is an undergraduate doing very well in life. I don't feel exams and certifications are all that important. But right now that you're taking an exam, might as well do it well. Might as well do it very, very well. Incidentally, I've decided and I'm going to be doing these videos in Hindi as well. So please let me know if you prefer videos in Hindi so that I can cater for those students who are not very comfortable in English, right? So after you have decided at what cost, and then ask yourself, am I prepared to achieve my goals? Am I prepared to get those marks at whatever cost? Come what may, I will do it. And whatever it may take, I'll do it. If you get that type of a willpower, that type of a feeling, that type of an inner desire, then you're all set for your beautiful preparation for the exams. Now, you've got a result in mind, you've got a goal in mind, and now ask the next question, how many marks do I need to at least break, whether I want to crack that exam, whether I want to get admission in a particular college, and that's the cut down marks or the breakdown, whatever the cutoff marks, you should know that. Okay. And then based on that, decide for yourself what is the percentage of marks you're looking for. Now, my hint here is if you think 90 is good enough, say 92. Keep a little cushion. If you aim for the moon, you will get the treetops. Aim for a little higher. Don't aim for what you really want. Aim for a little higher. Stretch your goal. And excitement is in stretching a goal, right? Now, once you've got as to how many marks you want, then focus on the marks and only for the exams. After the exams are over, marks will not matter in your life. But at the moment, we got to get those marks to be able to get that certificate for life. How good or bad it is a different opinion. I have my different opinions about exams. But now that you're going through the exams, might as well see how best I can do in it, right? Now, I want you to write down that figure, the marks that you're looking at. Write down that figure, that overall figure. I'm not talking about per subject, overall percentage. And I did such a coaching for one of my friend's daughters about 5 years back. And I've got a blog post written on it. If somebody wants to have a look, I'll give you the reference, or go to my website and see my blog on examination techniques. You'll find this. And this girl, she said 92. And I made her write on a full scale sheet paper, big, 92, thick. And I asked her to paste it on the wall where she sees it every morning. So she placed it in a way that when she got up in the morning, the first thing when she opened her eyes was 92. And if that becomes your focus, if that becomes your target, it's easier for your brain to home onto, because your subconscious mind has been given a task, 92. So you do everything it takes to maneuver, to navigate to 92. It's something like you're going in a jungle. And if you're going in a jungle for a walk with your friends and you have no aim, you just take a walk and come back. But let's say that you tell yourself that I am walking in this jungle and I am going to look for at least 5 unique plants. Your subconscious mind suddenly gets a task. Now start looking out. So you'll focus on when you're going. You're not just walking. You're not walking in wilderness. You're walking with a purpose. Similarly, find your purpose. Put those marks there and visualize so that all your strength, all your forces get streamlined onto that one target and focus on the marks that you want to get. Right? Now, once you've got that on the wall, then write down what all will you need to do to reach there. 92 marks लेने हैं, क्या क्या चाहिए? Do I need to increase my speed of reading? Not many people think about it. But if you have done speed reading, and I'll suggest students who are in class 9, class 11, one of the things you should be doing during class 9 and 11 is speed reading. More on that later. I'll do another video on speed reading. And I'll suggest some friends of mine who do speed reading courses. They'll conduct a course for you. Imagine I'm looking at myself. Supposing somebody had told me this when I was in class 8, and if I could do a little work in doubling my speed. Normally, a person reads at the speed of about 350 words per minute, and with about 60% comprehension. Now, if you want to increase it to about 600 words or 700 words, means double the speed, with about 80% comprehension, it's not a very difficult task. But imagine that you do it in class 8, or I had done it. Can you imagine that all that I've read in this life of mine, I'm 70 now, I would have read that in half the time. And I would have had half the time of my reading time of my life into having fun. So either you would have read whatever you are reading in half the time, or you would have read in the same time double the amount. Either way, you're gaining a lot. So that is just an example of what skills do you need to do better in exams. Focus exercises, focusing, concentration, so that you study more in 1 hour than you would have done if your mind was wandering here and there. So look at some of these things. What are the skills you require? Improve your concentration, improve your speed reading, improve your memory techniques and all that. Okay. Now get down to what I call making a list of skills you want to acquire, sacrifices you want to make, and what all are you prepared to do. I'm prepared to do, all the things that you did. I won't go to a shopping mall for more than once a month. I will I will not hang out with my friends for more than X amount of time in a week, etc., etc. Write down what are you prepared to pay as a price for the high achievement of marks that you want. Everything has to be done at a cost, so please be prepared to pay the cost. And the last thing I want to be talking about in this video is make study a habit. Now, the most important thing in any goal, including exams, is self-discipline. And what does it mean? You don't want your parents to be telling you, beta, now it's time to study. No, you have to be self disciplined. You have to be monitoring your own progress. You have to be your own monitor in your life. And you have to say, I need to study for so many hours. Don't have to depend on somebody else, whether your teacher, your friend, your parents, to tell you that. You have to do it yourself, right? Now, next thing is set your routine. From the morning, what time you'll get up, how much of physical exercise you'll do. You must get up in the morning, do an exercise, energize yourself, prime yourself. What is priming? Priming is energizing yourself in the morning. If you have ever used, and chances are you may not have used, but you would have learned that there's a hand pump. And in the hand pump, the piston goes up and down. The handle, what you use is a piston, which moves the piston actually. So you go do it up and down, couple of times. It is only pumping in air, and then the water starts coming out. Now, when you do in the morning, that's the way you get your energy out. So prime yourself in the morning, do yoga, do pranayam, walk up a little, do some jogging. Now you're ready for your studies. Don't get up and yawning, get onto the study table. That doesn't really give you the best results, right? Okay, now set your routine. What time you'll get up, what time you'll do your exercise, what time will you have your breakfast, what time you'll start studying. So you have a timetable. And then what time will you rest? What time will you have a little break? What time will you have your lunch? What time will you have a power nap if you want to? Please settle down on a routine. Let me tell you, boys and girls, 70 years of my life, and after 12, I have been into a disciplined life from a Scenic school to NDA to IMA to the Indian Army. And now I know the value of a routine. Your body, your mind is best tuned for optimum efficiency if it follows a particular routine. No machine likes it. Your computer doesn't like it. If you're jerky with your movements, you use your any machine sporadically, it'll never perform as well as you have a pattern of using it. Your body is also like that. Set a pattern for it. It's a rhythmatic movement or progress, and your body will get used to it. Otherwise, your body will be in jerks and jolts all the time, will not be able to give you optimum results. So make a routine. When you set that routine, make a very practical timetable. So I'll go further and tell you details, but you must have rest. You must have time for entertainment. You must rejuvenate. And these are the little things that matter. If you're going to study for 6 hours continuously, you're making a fool of yourself because you will not assimilate. And there's no point being on the study table when you are not assimilating. And later in another video, I'm going to be talking about how do you count your hours of preparation? How do you count how many hours I studied today? If you're sitting on the table for 6 hours, you can say, I sat on the table for 6 hours. Don't say I studied for 6 hours. Sitting on the table for 6 hours is not equal to studying for 6 hours, period. Okay. Now, in your studies, use variety. So, if you're going to use one subject for 2 hours, 3 hours, you may get bored. So, it is good to take a tough subject, then a lighter subject, then a tough subject, then another subject that you like. Okay, create variety. Take for example, a science subject, then take a language. So mix them up so that you get a variety. Make sure that your timetable is sustainable, that even at the end of the day, don't feel too tired about it. And then make your goals, your weekly goals. And I have tried this out many times with both officers or studying for adult exams like staff college or for students. Earn your Sunday. Make your goals for 6 days. Decide what you're going to study in 6 days and say, if I am not able to complete what I've decided, I will do the remaining on Sunday. If you want to have a cool time on Sunday, you want to give yourself a break, then earn your Sunday by making sure that on Saturday you've completed your tasks. It's a beautiful way. So keep your Sunday blank in planning and use Sunday only for leftovers. And if you just got one chapter left and you get up on Sunday morning and finish it by 9 o'clock, I got the whole Sunday. Now I can go and see a movie. I can chill with my friends. Take a day off. Keep your books away. That's really a charger. It energizes you. And if you have parents who tell you, no, you have to study, no, your exams are coming, you don't have to go out, tell them to speak to me. It is a misnomer that you can carry on studying throughout every day. You have to have breaks. Breaks after every periodic breaks, short breaks, long breaks. And it is good to have a weekly break of a day. Very good. So, boys and girls, I have come to the end of the first module in which I have asked you to first do whatever you want to set a proper goal for yourself, know what your capabilities are, your real capabilities and not your perceived capabilities. Draw out a plan for yourself because a planned operation is better than an unplanned one. And then get to your why, that why do you want to achieve the type of goals or the marks you have decided. Set about a routine and make study a habit, make study fun. Make study fun. Okay. So thank you very much for watching in, and you're going to be looking forward to the number 2 module, which will be up on YouTube in 3 days time from now. So thank you very much. Bye bye and God bless.